Hey guys, Shadow here, and welcome back to Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. So we are going to investigate this well, because for some reason the criminals stopped he Really?
There's
The
something
silverware?
glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it?
Guess I'm gonna have to go to the shed and get something. It's a shed. Is that why they stopped here? No, they would have just thrown it down there, I would think. Put that on there.
This hook might be useful. Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved.
Is there anything else in
This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty.
So why would they have stopped there? These three guys, which I'm convinced is not what happened.
Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence.
Yes. I'm guessing it's the missing silverware.
The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware.
Let's see. There were two people drinking wine out of these glasses. The remaining glass with these wine consisted of solely of the dregs from the other two glasses. There were three people drinking wine out of these glasses. One of the people... No, that doesn't make sense. Maybe, but... Vandals are well known. Death of Sir Eustace could have been due to a poker blow. The robbery was faked and the whole story invented in order to blame Sir Eustace's deaths on the Randalls. Testimonies and evidence match and the point to the Randall. See, it just doesn't make sense. It just seems too convenient, and the fact that they make it identical or match it perfectly, basically. Silverware found. Death of Sir Eustace could have been due to his accidental striking his head on the fireplace grate. But then why would the poker be bent? Silverware found. Criminals identified. Knotted rope. I guess that doesn't make sense. Nope. Guess we'll go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody. Guessing the bottle is this one over here because he said it was a French wine.
A hunter scene. What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Interesting.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
Did he just fourth wall break?
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Nah, that's 2.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behavior.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed.
This isn't fitting together. No acquaintance, Lady Brackenstall married Sir Eustace shortly after arriving in England and remained at home during that time. There is little possibility that she or her maid are acquainted with anyone in the country. Lady's acquainted with someone from the Rock of... That would make sense. Acquainted with a sailor. Was definitely murder. Was no accident. They were blamed for it. And there was 2 people. Inspector Stales used to set a surgery proudly. Once he sent Lady Brackenstall solid on fire, another time he threw the gainer at Teresa. Domestic violence. Eustace was violent towards his wife. Silverware found. Robbery is the motive. Is confirmed as the motive for the crime. The criminals may have plans to return to... No. They would have just took it with them. It's an imitated robbery. Murderous visitor. Sir Eustace was murdered by the one person who was visiting that night. It was he who tied up Lady Brackenstall. He is tall and strong. He's a sailor. Perform an analysis on that now. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna go back to Baker Street again. You'd think you'd carry that thing with you, you know, that little mobile archive. Or maybe a mobile lab or something. But you could do it while you're at a crime scene. Guess that'd be too much to ask, though. Is she seriously gonna be looking at me again? Yep. It's creepy. It's really creepy.
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope.
Guessing it wasn't scissors, it probably would have been a knife.
If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original.
Wait, that's it? The rope was cut once with a sharp knife and tied quickly in sailor's knots. That could indicate that the intruder had a sailor's background, which also leads to the person who was visiting that night was probably a sailor. Search for possible sailor suspects. And how do I go about doing that?
What should we do next, Holmes?
Go back over here, I guess? I don't know. This is confusing. I would imagine that if the Randalls were there, they probably would have either taken more and took it with them rather than leaving it there. Or...
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
Don't look at me like that. It's funny.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Please leave my Mary alone. She suffered so much, she deserves some rest.
I have a feeling you hired a hitman. How do I search for a sailor suspect? Wait a minute. Oh, goddamn. Oh, I can be so stupid sometimes. I didn't think about the picture beforehand, and then not travel all the way here. Anytime now. There we go. Thank you. Alright, what was it? 1893, the name of the ship and the date. Lady Brackenstall and her maid's voyage from Australia. So... I have to imagine it'd be newspapers. Yeah. The ship... Arrival of the Rock of Gibraltar. A ship returned. The Rock of Gibraltar. The Rock. A bulk carrier from the Adeline Southampton London line, Cunard Building, James Street, London, has returned from a 6-month voyage through India, New Zealand, and Australia. The ship brought to England Miss Mary Fraser, the heiress of the Fraser family, owning land and tin mines in Australia. This reportedly beautiful young lady is presently engaged to Sir Eustace Brackenstall, one of the wealthiest gentlemen in Kent.
Here it is.
Ask for Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins,
The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problem.
Yeah.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
Oh, Wiggins, I have a job for you. Wiggins.
Could you come upstairs, please?
What the hell was he doing?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893, and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
3 hours later.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
What?
I left it right on the table for you, sir.
This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th.
November the 12th. Rock of Gibraltar. Departure from Italy, Australia. So, let me see here. Departure in October. Departure in November. Departure October. November. Here we go. This is the only one that makes sense because they would have been there on the 7th. Jack Crocker.
This list shows the Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days.
Okay. No. George. No. Frank. No Franks. Murdoch. No Murdochs. Alfred. Harold. No. That name's really long. Thomas Walker.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Herbert.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
John. J.H. Didn't know I was going to have to do all of them. Is there a James? No, there's not. Charles Henry Southward.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Ernest.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Samuel L. Graham. That's disappointing. Like, Samuel L. Jackson's in here. That's awesome.
This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime.
Mr. William.
This
Purvis.
officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in... Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
Okay, call Crocker to confront him.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him. Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Sometime later. After loading.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
Yes. You're a murder suspect. He's honest, that's good. Strong build. Seems to be very tall. Just gonna check out your crotch there. Newspaper ink. What the hell is happening back there? Clear. Oh, clean. Clean boots. That doesn't make sense. Ah, sea knife.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You? And what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Dissected. That's funny. Captain Crocker was aboard the Sharp on the night of murder. He is not afraid to confront me. He had a confident demeanor. Crocker's lying. His involvement is clear. He appeared as soon as he heard that I was looking for him, thus signaling his guilt. Maybe, but... What if I switch this over to 3 people, then what happens? I still don't... There's no way. Oops. That's just too... It's too simple. This makes more sense. He's tall, he has a knife, he's a sailor. Okay, let's say there's no acquaintance then. There's something that can come down here. There's a deadly accident. There's 3 people. I can see it. There's something down here. Just don't know how to get to it. Domestic accident. The death of Sir Eustace was an accident caused by a struggle with his wife. That kind of makes sense, but it still doesn't account for that's the only thing that makes sense, because I thought it might have been her and the maid at first, but with the fact that it was cut real tall and sharp with a knife and there is sailor's knots and the fact that they're acquainted, it makes sense. Jack Crocker is a murderer, and you will bring him and his accomplice, Lady Brackenstall, to justice. Murder was committed in self-defense. Jack Crocker defended a woman against a violent and despicable, maniacal man. The mystery is solved. You decide to keep it secret. There's no need to inform the police. I'm gonna say that. I'm sure that's what was going on. I mean, the guy was a maniac.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Oh, interesting. Barely an hour has passed.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear, and it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Jesus!
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox Dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night. Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
Okay then. And I accept that decision. And before I do this, because there was an issue with this the last time, I don't want it to screw up my game again. So thank you guys for watching, or my recording. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, see you later.